get different opinions about this if you've listened to the radio, if you've watched national TV shows, if you watched Sports Center last night. There was a lot of talk about it there. And I'm sure there was plenty of talk about it on social media. For me personally, and this is just my opinion, if you want to look at where this all starts and how this could have all been prevented, go back and watch the earlier parts of the game. Go watch earlier in the game when we saw Mason Rudolph get hit in the helmet, when we saw Juju Smith-Schuster get hit in the helmet, when we saw Deontay Johnson eventually get hit in the helmet and carted off the field with a concussion and reportedly bleeding from the ear, and eventually they had to kick Demarius Randall out of the game for that hit. Cleveland took a lot of liberties in this game, and I don't think all those liberties were monitored properly. That's where it starts for me. I thought the officiating of this game was quite horrible. And I'm not talking about just those particular things. There were other instances too. Last night was the first time I've ever seen offensive pass interference and defensive pass interference called on the same play. It was really bizarre how a lot of this game unfolded, especially with the officiating. And I think that's where you start with a lot of this, because if they do a better job, I'm talking about the officials, of policing this game and taking more of the stance of being more concerned with safety, I don't think a lot of the things we saw last night progressed the way they did. I thought a lot of it was stemmed from how the officials handled this game, and I don't think they handled it as cleanly as they possibly could have, and I think that led to a lot of the issue here. Part of that whole scenario with Myles Garrett driving Mason Rudolph's body into the ground on a screen pass with, 15 seconds left in the game? Cleveland's already up by 2 touchdowns. There is nothing to be gained by Myles Garrett playing the way he did to try to drive Mason Rudolph's body into the ground when he's already taken out another quarterback earlier this season. He took Trevor Siemian out for the Jets and ended his season with a hit. So to see that go down the way it did, knowing that it could have been prevented if maybe just a little bit more awareness on the part of the officials, I think a lot of this could have been prevented. That is to say that the officials can't control Myles Garrett's temper. The officials can't control Mason Rudolph's temper, because I honestly believe he played a part in this too. I believe he helped instigate this further. And I believe Larry Ogunjobi and Marquise Pouncey were more or less reacting more than they were actually instigating or causing anything. I think that's where the line divides for me. I think Myles Garrett, with the way he tackled Mason Rudolph responding to how he was brought to the ground, and then you see Marquise Pouncey and Larry Ogunjobi react and just going to defend their teammates. So if you want to consider what Larry Ogunjobi did defending his teammate. I know that's what he said, but I don't really believe it. But for me, as I'm saying, for me personally, I think it starts there. I think the lack of awareness from the officiating crew led to those events. Am I saying it's directly because of that? No. But I'm saying if they keep this game tighter earlier on, it probably does not progress the way it does later down the road. Now, that does not excuse the Steelers' offense at all. Does not excuse it. They did not have the performance that would inspire you of being able to win. And it didn't make it helpful when you lose James Conner, when you lose Juju Smith-Schuster, when you lose Deontay Johnson, in the way that those guys were all lost with injuries, and trying to have all this overcome. In spite of all of it, it just didn't add up the way you would expect it to given those circumstances. In the meantime, what we'll do is we'll take a break. We come back. We got the Xfinity Sports Desk. We'll break down a couple things that happened today. Plus, we're taking your phone calls, 412-575-2600 on the Bordas & Bordas hotline. Stick around.
The Ireland Contracting Nightly Sports Call is brought to you by Ireland Contracting, celebrating 25 years as Pittsburgh's #1 home exterior expert in roofing, siding, windows, and gutters, where honesty and integrity still matter.